Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is more Bad Business gameplay. I'm going to be running around with a P90 and showing you a pretty compelling reason why grenades either need tweaking or we need some kind of counterplay attachment like blast shield or flak jacket, because they're absolutely absurd. But the story that we're going to be discussing in this particular narrative is going to be the map design in Bad Business. So I've done my best to play all the maps. I've just prestiged in the game, guys. I'm Prestige 1, I'm a big noob. And I've been looking into the reasoning and the flow and the theory behind the maps, because I just don't understand them. And the more I've researched, the more I've realised that it seems like anybody can make maps on Roblox by getting the developer tools or the Roblox tools or something. And they can commission their work and then be paid with Roblox currencies. And I feel like a lot of the most recent maps for this game have been people submitting map designs, and the devs have liked them and paid them in Roblox currency or something, and that's how they've made it into the game. And I think if you look at it from that perspective, it kind of resonates, doesn't it? It shows a complete lack of cohesion when it comes to design. There isn't a lot of themes or running aspects of it. So it makes me think that the reason that the maps are so different, and because they swing so wildly between concepts, that they are a bunch of different people designing like the best possible map for any scenario that doesn't quite resonate into a first-person shooter with good flow, good traffic and good lanes. And the map I'm playing on right here is called Brazil. This is essentially the nuke town of Roblox Bad Business, in my opinion, because it's the map where you can get into a gunfight very quickly, and it's the map where you can predict where the gunfights are going to be, because it's essentially 2 spawn traps on either side of 3 lanes. Of course, there's more to it than just that, and this map suffers from a lot of the problems a lot of the maps suffer from, which is an over-embellishment on aspects that don't need to exist. And I could talk map design on this game for a long time. I could talk your ear off, because I've been playing first-person shooters since Wolfenstein and Doom. You know, I've played a lot of them. I've played a lot of their multiplayers. I've played a lot of maps, and I actually think the more I play these maps, the more they do have wonderful spots of flow and some really nice eyes for design. But it's lost in the shuffle of so many ideas coming together and not making a coherent whole. And I would love to see some tweaking. And I say this because they've recently released Brazil 2, which is a changed version of this map, and some of the changes that I can perceive that they've done, watch this by the way, this guy's a beast. This is everything wrong with advanced movement and grenades, and he's going to do that to me a lot because it's such a successful strategy. And when throwing a grenade is more successful than shooting, there's a problem there for me. But the maps have got wonderful moments, and then areas that you wonder why they exist. And they've got areas that have been changed and tweaked and adjusted, and it leads to some interesting engagements and flow and areas where everybody comes together and gets into gunfights. And if it was up to me, I would completely trim out the side lanes in this map completely, and I'd funnel them closer into mid so that it was more of a condensed, compact encounter, and it was all around this middle area, this middle courtyard, because this is where all the action is. And I would wager that if the developers could see the heat maps on their game and see where all the traffic is and where all the people go, you'll notice that the lanes on the left and right of this map barely get used outside of the very rare flanks or the spawns that get put there. Everything else is always fluxing into this funnel, into the middle, and condensing into this very dedicated gunfight. And that's what this map does so well, and it's why it's probably my favourite map in the game from a conventional standpoint. And I call it the nuke town of Bad Business because I would love to see a nuke town on this game. I would love to see a very small, very compact, just visceral and frenetic map where you spawn in a gunfight and it's nothing but fight your way out of a corner, like Shipment, like Nuketown, like Hijacked, like Dome, you name it. I would love to see, you know, just that insane amount of flicks and gun skill needed just to purely survive. Everyone's dying, it's absolute insanity, but it doesn't exist. And it only exists in small doses when everything, you know, coincides at the right moment together. And all of these maps have those moments where you funnel into that wonderful situation of us against them and everybody shooting everybody else. And unless you get some cheeky flank on a particularly defensive team who are sniping or something, you don't really get into a moment where you engage with 3 people in a gunfight. Because if you do, if it's 3 or 4 people in a gunfight, you're on the bad team and they're spawn trapping you, and they're all jumping around and they all know what they're doing and they all have better guns than you do. And it kinda gets away from the fun of that frenetic fighting yourself out of the corner feeling that I'd love to see on such a condensed map. And of course, maybe that's not what they're going for. There's a lot of stuff in this game, there's a lot of ideas in this game that are pretty unique, that come together and work far better than they have any right to. But when you look at the maps, you look at a map like Storage. Storage is a map that I hated at first, but I grew to enjoy because I learnt to use the movement, and I learnt to understand how powerful the roof is. And when you... essentially, if you own that central part of the roof on Storage, where you can jump between the two warehouses, you can keep a handle on the spawns, and you can understand the flow of that map and know where people are going. But even if you do that, and even if you're a good player and you can completely control the enemy team, you can't stop those kids that climbed those massive towers 9 weeks away from the hill and never helped their team, and then there's 4 of them laid down up there, and you have so much recoil on your gun when you try to shoot those people for some reason, yet you beam everybody else effortlessly, and it's just this really annoying niggle of a fight where everybody hides off in a corner and doesn't do anything that even, like, correlates to being a video game. And it's the same with TDM. TDM needs to be removed from the rotation because all it is kill confirmed without a point. When you play TDM on this game, you allow cowards to hide. You allow people to essentially remove all sense of flow, all predictability, all enjoyability of a good game of tug-of-war, back and forth. There's none of that. It doesn't exist. When you have kill confirmed, when they kill you, they have to come and pick up the tag. And that's what makes it work. It works because they can't just hide in some bullshit pay-to-win rooftop that you don't know exists because you haven't played the map enough, and you're not a cheesy bastard that wants to go up there, you know? You have to give them a reason to move, give them a reason to be somewhere, and that's why King of the Hill is the best game mode in the game, because every game funnels towards the same heat spot, so you can plan to see what kind of team you're up against. Some teams, they'll just bull rush it and throw grenades and get bodies on the hill. Then you can counter that. Other teams, they'll work the flank. Some teams, they'll try to snipe. There's this wonderful coalescing of ideas coming together, and everybody plays it slightly differently. And it doesn't take away from the diversity. It doesn't make it boring, too predictable. It makes it a first-person shooter. It makes it a competitive shooter at times, and a very fun one. And the reason that I'm sending a message here, guys, is because that cheesy grenade thrower guy wanted to vote to kick me. And I wasn't going to say anything because I thought he was being a cunt the whole game. But the moment you say something in the chat, you're going to get something back. But I can't say anything mean because we're playing Roblox and they don't let you. And yeah, so I send him back something. And it's you can't even say nades, which is weird, right? Nades is censored? What is that? Is that a racial slur I've never heard of against grenades? Who knew? But thank you for watching, guys, and you take care now.